Hello all, I'm Puneet and I have with me Arhun, Uma, Alicia and Sherry. Today my team and I will present to you our findings about how technology mentions in a company's 10K filing can impact its future stock performance. So here is the agenda for our presentation. We will start with the business problem overview, we'll go through the methodologies that we used, we'll take you through the analytical journey and present to you our insights. And finally we will wrap up by talking about the limitations and the future opportunities. Nowadays, every company is a technology company, no matter what product or service it provides. Companies which adapt quickly to newer technologies are more likely to gain a foothold on the market. So, our objective for today's presentation is to identify the technology intensity level for different companies, evaluate the impact of technology on stock performance and the variation across industries, understand the mutual fund investment decision with regard to companies' technology adoption level. So, now I would like to call Arun, who will talk about methodologies that we used.
To study the impact of technology mentions in 10K filings of companies on their stock performance and mutual funds stock portfolio decisions, we decided to work on three industries, which are finance, transportation, and retail. For our analysis, we shortlist the companies in those sectors and scrape their 10K reports from the SEC website. Also, we scraped all the 13F filings of mutual funds that exist in SEC website. We filtered these reports to last 3 years. We then created a repository of technology keywords specific to those sectors. Based on the count of the technology keywords for every company in their 10K reports, we defined their technology intensity. In order to understand how stock prices are affected by dimensions of technology, we built several models between a company's technology intensity and its stock performance. In the second part of our study, we used 13F filings of mutual funds and we tried to build models between the average changes of mutual fund common stock portfolios and the company's technology intensity. Now Uma will take you through the stock performance of companies and their technology intensity.
Thank you, Arhan. So our initial hypothesis when we started our analysis was that technology mentions would positively correlate to how stock changes would expect to be. But when we actually plotted out the data that we received on a graph, we can straight off the bat see it's not true. We see clustering around the center right here, and we have some outliers like GameStop, which is a company that has a lot of references to digital in their 10Ks, but they're not really seeing much of the stock impact. We also see the usual suspects like Amazon right where they should be, which is a lot of technology mentions and a lot of stock price movement. But then we aren't seeing enough companies in that segment there, which is where there will be a positive impact of technology on stock prices. So we wanted to break this down by technology, by industries, and see if the same thing was happening across industries and if we could track how that was actually behaving. So the model that we ran, there's a few takeaways from it. First, the R-square is not very significant, which was only expected because, as you can see, it was more of a cluster and not as much of a linear correlation. Additionally, the coefficients are very small, which means that even if you did mention technology one more time, it wouldn't have too much of an impact on your stock price. What's more interesting is that in an industry like retail, mentioning technology in your 10K actually pulls your stock price down. And what we did see in an industry like transportation over time is that while it was a positive impact, mentioning technology did change their prices, it increased in intensity over time. So in 2017, it was more important to mention technology than it was in 2016, which is possibly a reflection of changing times and how investors want to see technology in their 10K reports. I'm going to call on Alicia now, who's going to take you through the next part of the analysis and see whether this is something that is impacting what mutual fund managers do and their investment decisions.
Thank you, Uma. For the technology impact on mutual fund investment decision, we explored it with 3 different models. For retail industry, technology mentions in 10K didn't seem to have a significant role in explaining the investment decision. However, in the final model we selected, in which is the log-log model with year as dummy variable, we did see that technology mentions affect the mutual fund manager's decision in investing in the finance and transportation industry at 0.25 confidence level. The positive coefficient of the dummy variable here indicated that greater share of the investment are made in 2015 compared to 2016, since 2016 is what we use as the dummy base here. And the model seems to indicate that mutual fund managers made more investment in the companies with higher technology intensity in the financial industry. However, the negative coefficient in the transportation industry model suggested the opposite relationship between technology mentions and investment volumes. Now I would like to hand it over to Sherry, who will explain our insights and potential limitations in our analysis.
Thank you, Alicia. Based on our analysis and findings, here's our insights and recommendations for you. First, we realized that technology intensity adopted by each company varies across industries. Some companies relied more heavily on technology advancement than others. Second, we realized that stock can be both positive or negatively impacted by technology adoption. It really depends on each company's performance. Finally, by analyzing and comparing the stock market performance and the fund management performance, we found out that portfolio strategies adopted by fund managers are not aligned with the stock performance. Contrary to what we have expected, they should really leverage all the information available to make sound investment decisions. Therefore, we would recommend them to make smart financial investment decisions based on the analytical result that we can provide for them. So next, in terms of the limitations of our current analysis, we realize that correlation doesn't necessarily mean causations. And there are also other internal and external factors that can potentially affect the stock performance. Thirdly, we realize that 10K files may not be the best reference to really understand a company's technology strategies and how heavily they are used in terms of their technologies. So in the future, we want to refine our analysis by considering increase the number of companies that we analyze to therefore increase our confidence level and also our accuracy. Secondly, we want to consider incorporate other factors into our analysis. Therefore, by controlling those factors, we should be able to get a more accurate result to understand the direct impact of technology to stock performance. Thank you very much. This concludes our presentation. We would like to take any questions that you have.